Okay, New York Times writers are mad about the war ending. That means Trump is on the right track. President Trump seems to be trying in earnest to end the Iran war that we embarked upon on Israel's behalf. That is probably a triggering assertion. I can't say that I disagree with it, except that none of us want, if it's based on the premise that we don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon because they're crazy, then yeah, I'd say we can all be on the same page with that. But because of the geographic disadvantage that Israel has and the fact that they are our ally and we historically have always defended them, then you could probably make the argument that we did embark on this on behalf of Israel specifically. If New York Times columnists Bret Stephens and Thomas Friedman are disappointed, the president is doing something right. It's kind of like there's more Mr. Nosehair. It's kind of like like with the Senate GOP leadership. He's got them all in a kerfuffle. Good. If they are unhappy, it means he's doing something right. These are the Israel First type people who are the anathema to Trump's stated 2016, 2020, and 2024 campaign agendas. They're not uninterested in what Trump said were his priorities. They're directly opposed to them. Here's what Friedman said this week, and the link is in the article, but they've put the quote, after Trump announced that the U.S. and Iran had reached the early stages of a settlement to the war. Trump sold out America's ally in the war, Israel and the Arab Gulf states, for the swing states of Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Michigan. He had to stop the war now to get prices down by November. I know historically that's what we're used to. We're used to presidents sort of putting a Band-Aid on things so that their approval ratings go up so that they win the midterms or there's some election coming up. I get it. I get being jaded. I get it. But I really don't believe that. I know he wants to give us some relief, but honestly, I think it's more about giving us some relief. And also, we do have to keep the Senate. We do have to keep the House because the last 2 years of his presidency will just be all about impeachments and committees, and then we won't get anything done. His legacy will be basically stymied and set on a shelf. I know he did get a lot of the legislation through that he really wanted the first 2 years. They were pushing really hard for that. Really, the last remnant of everything that we really need is the Save America Act. So I think he's going to be really pushing as hard as he can over the next several months and using every piece of leverage that he has to get that across the line. He had to stop the war now to get prices down by November. So Trump did what he always does. He abandoned all principle and all allies and put his personal interests above all other considerations. If you're talking about Americans, then yeah, I guess you can call that personal interests. He is not like Joe Biden or Barack Obama or George Bush. This isn't about his own personal agendas. His agenda is the American people and America first. I still believe that, even though there's been this 2-year distraction in other parts of the world. I think what he's trying to do is get back here to manage those things. And every time people stop shooting over there, Israel fires a rocket and causes problems. That's just the truth. And they need to stop. They need to stop. But I just don't think they're going to. They want total obliteration. And we shouldn't be involved in that. I just would encourage you to look at this article in its entirety. I believe that, like this last paragraph, there are strong arguments on both sides as to whether this war was worth it. Many of us are simply ready for it to be over so we can move on and refocus our problem-solving skills within the borders of this country rather than across the Atlantic Ocean. That bothers all the right people, and hopefully the president sees that as a good thing, and he doesn't let it get under his skin so then he pivots again. He needs to really listen to his gut more often than I think he does. That happened with COVID. And I remember him sitting in the Rose Garden and telling everybody, yep, we're just going to shut down for 2 weeks, and thinking, good. It gave me some relief to hear him say that. Well, then we all know Scarf Lady and Fauci cornered him in the Oval Office by himself and convinced him that it needed to be longer. And there we were. Effectively, the world shut down. And it was so that they could affect a national election. That's my opinion. And that's what I think. And I think that's what a lot of other conservatives think. So, the bottom line is peace through strength has been a conservative principle for generations. The objective is not endless conflict. The objective is achieving peace while protecting America's interests and allies. And I think there's nothing unreasonable about that. And so I think that the louder the neocons scream about perpetual and constant war, I think they're going to lose support, because Americans just don't want it. I don't care how much Fox News you watch. Nobody wants that. At least 80 to 90% don't want it. America just doesn't have the stomach for a 25-year war in the Middle East. Not anymore. It used to happen under George Bush and other neocons. We just don't want it anymore. So I hope I've been able to pull together for you a clear picture that regardless of where you are with the president on the Iran issue, he is in good faith trying to put a stop to the fighting so that he can come back and deal with the domestic issues that we all know need to be managed. Because he's president, and because the levers of bureaucracy that lie underneath the executive branch in his office, they are going after things like voting, the voter situation, voter integrity issues in California, the fact that the Senate GOP leadership is upset with him because they want to push through a confirmation so that they can get those FISA warrants back in place. Why? Because they know they can abuse those. Well, the president is utilizing that. First of all, I'm fairly certain he's not all that crazy about that program because it did affect him personally. So he's not just falling in line. They are trying to push him and show him they're the ones in control. And in reality, you aren't going to do that with him, because if it's going to be down to who's got more power, he is going to push until you understand he's the guy in charge. So, and I know that they're representatives of the people, but for how long has it been that most of them don't represent us? They represent themselves and their own interests. I trust the president more than I trust John Thune. I just do. I trust the president more than I trust my own 2 senators, quite frankly, here in Tennessee. So what does that tell you? And then, of course, the Supreme Court legacy that is going to last for us, hopefully for the next couple of decades at least, that we will have a court that definitely leans more conservative than not. So, and hopefully we keep Alito and Thomas for another decade. That would be nice. I don't know. They're both getting up in age, especially Thomas. I think he's 80. But those are all reasons why conservatives should not be black-pilled, because we do have a president that I do believe cares about our country. We're getting some stuff done. It's kind of flying under the radar. You just really need to know where to look. And I'm going to do everything I can to help you see it. That is my goal here at Still Not Canceled, where we question everything, especially the narrative. My name is Kelly Jackson. I thank you so much. I appreciate it. I would love it if you would like and subscribe and, join the community. I appreciate you, and I will see you again soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.